Good afternoon and welcome to today's public hearing. This hearing will include Columbus City Council's Health and Human Services and Finance Committees. I am Councilmember Priscilla Tyson, President Pro Tem for City Council and the chair of these committees. Before we begin, please be aware that this hearing is being recorded for rebroadcast on CTV, Columbus Government Television Channel 3. The rebroadcast schedule is available at www.columbus.gov. This afternoon's hearing is one in a series of bi-weekly committee hearings that I hold in order to review legislation in the committees that I chair. And this includes Health and Human Services, Finance, and the Workforce Development Committees. The goal of the hearings is to promote transparency and provide an opportunity for city residents to learn and to speak on legislation that impacts their lives. There will be on occasions on which a committee is not covered because legislation is not always scheduled for each committee. The intent of each hearing is to review legislation that will be on City Council's agenda for the following 2 weeks. This afternoon, we will hear information on legislation in Health and Human Services and the Finance Committees. Presenting legislation, we will have from the Department of Finance, Deputy Director Dan Giangardella, and from Columbus Public Health, Director for the Center for Epidemiology, Preparedness, and Response, Mr. Michael Fielding. We will begin this hearing with legislation from the Finance Department, and I will now turn it over to Deputy Director Dan Giangardella. Hi, Dan.
Good afternoon. And thank you, Chair Tyson, for allowing us to present our ordinances this afternoon. The first ordinance, 1553-2016, we are anticipating for first reading next Monday, June 27th. This is an ordinance that authorizes the Director of Finance and Management to modify an existing contract that we have with the Greater Columbus Arts Council for support of the Greater Columbus Film Commission, and the amount of that is $57,500. The Greater Columbus Film Commission is a nonprofit organization that's dedicated to promoting the Greater Columbus area and Central Ohio as a prime filming destination and serves as a central resource hub for the film industry. And obviously, a lot of cities, as you know, are getting into promoting cities other than on our coast as places where we'd like some exposure and a cheaper alternative for the film industry to come to cities like Columbus, and the Greater Columbus Film Commission helps us do that. Within this ordinance is also $5,000 to go to the support of the recent Columbus Film Summit, where speakers talked about filmmaking in Columbus and film education and production and post-production, and discussed the opportunity that might be present for any city or state incentives for Ohio. They also helped to promote Columbus as a favorable location for any future film productions. I believe this is the second year that we've actually given some additional support for the Columbus Film Commission. The amount within this particular contract is $5,000. I think last year it was roughly an equal amount in order to do so. So this is, as I said, an annual agreement to provide funding to them. I'd be happy to entertain any questions you have about that.
Thank you. I don't have any questions. Just I understand the importance of supporting the Columbus Film Commission and promoting our city and making it hopefully a destination for filmmakers, but also to support just the local filmmakers in our community. So it's great to have this. I know we passed an ordinance, and this total contract is for $95,000. We passed $75,000, which was authorized in 2015, and this $57,500 modification will bring that total to get to the $95,000. So, all right, thank you.
The next ordinance is actually a resolution for second reading. This is to accept the Capital Improvements Program 2016 to 2021. Which of course is our guide for any future capital improvements, budgets, ordinances that might be presented to council. This is an annual plan that we present to council for adoption, and just I'll highlight just a couple brief things within the plan. with the exception of the 2016 capital budget, which council's already adopted, this totals about $2.7 billion. The previous CIP, just for comparison, the one adopted last year was about $2.5 billion. As you know, the plan is dynamic. It's for capital projects that eventually we will present to council in the form of a capital improvements budget on an annual basis. The dollar amounts and the projects are typically adjusted each year depending on the status of the special income tax fund, or sometimes known as the city set-aside, as well as input from the community, from the administration, from council and the departments, and looking at what the infrastructure needs might be out there. The plan itself doesn't typically lock in a lot of specific projects until, of course, the following year when we begin the process working with council on the adoption of the capital improvements budgets. So, and then of course, the eventual bond sales, which must accompany the plan. So, as you know, this doesn't authorize any funding. It is a planning tool, if you will, that enables us to move forward. It'll also sort of form the basis, this particular CIP, for the upcoming 2016 voted bond package, obviously not in its entirety, but a lot of those eventual projects that would hopefully be adopted within the voted package would eventually most likely be part of this plan as well. I'd be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Dan. I'm glad you certainly keep saying the word plan, and I think that's important because obviously we passed the capital improvements budget, which is then what we're going to do. The plan for 5 years basically outlines what we want, a plan for us. And again, as you said, we don't know what the future holds, and so consequently, whatever's in the plan, we still may want to do it. It may be further out, based upon conditions, based upon the money, but so it is a real plan. If someone were to look at this year's CIP, would it appear that the city plans to spend far less in the next 5 years? Because we spent $421 million is planned for 2017, compared with the $867 million in 2016. And can you explain why that may not necessarily be the case, but why there's a difference in the numbers?
Yes, Chair Tyson. As you know, the administration, council, we work very closely with the auditor. Each time we come up for a capital improvements budget, and we always have very conservative estimates, only that we will spend what we can afford to spend based on the amount of monies going into a special income tax fund. We need to ensure, working with the auditor, that there is an appropriate amount of funds set aside for retiring the city debt, be it the existing or any new debt that we would issue under a capital improvements budget. At the end of this year, when we have pretty much the completion of the revenues due to the city from the 2.5% voter-approved income tax, we make an assessment and an estimate of what we think we can add to a potential upcoming capital improvements budget. And so typically those numbers, fortunately, based on the overall health of the economy in Central Ohio and Columbus, we've been able to come back and add additional, what we refer to as capacity each year. So we anticipate, we hope that we're able to do that from year to year. As you know, this year, you pointed out that our capital budget is almost double what the plan would be for next year at this time. But we fully anticipate that when all revenues come in at the end of this year, that we'll be able to go back and revise those estimates. And we do so each year. And as long as the economy does well, then we look forward to some of those numbers adjusting upward, and we will know more about the 17 budget, obviously, sometime January, February, when we sit with council and you have your hearings, and we can decide, based on community input, what we can go forward with. So we're hoping those numbers will go up.
All right, thank you so much.
The next set of ordinances, and they're very much related, ordinances 1603 through 1614, deal with the upcoming debt issuance for the 2016 capital budget. So we're sort of continuing the same theme here tonight. As you know, Council adopted that capital budget a few months ago, and now we are to the point where we are ready to issue the debt. Therefore, the auditor going out on the market to issue bonds to get prospective bond buyers so that we can actually begin the process of receiving the funds and doing those projects. I will quickly go through each of those ordinances and highlight just very few significant projects that would be part of this, this package. Ordinance 1603, 2016 is the ordinance for the safety and health projects, and this would be for the unlimited, which means basically the voter-approved debt that remains for public safety. This particular ordinance is roughly for $5 million, and it will be to buy SCBA's, the self-contained breathing apparatus for the fire division, and most likely one platform ladder. If you'd like, I can either entertain questions or I can go through each one of these and then we can, okay. The next ordinance, 1604, 2016, is an ordinance for the Recreation Parks Department to issue $38 million in unlimited tax bonds. Some of the major projects within Recreation Parks for this particular ordinance would be the Wyandotte Lodge renovation of $3 million, HVAC improvements in many of our recreation centers, and I think this is something you spearheaded while you were head of the Recreation Parks Committee some time ago, and some of these have been done, but obviously we want to continue to upgrade those systems. The Davis renovations is for $2.5 million. Indian Mound facility improvements of $3.8. These are by no means all encompassing, but just some of the highlighted projects. There are many other smaller projects that Recreation Parks will be going forward with as well. Ordinance 1605, 2016 is just under $100 million for transportation and refuse, which essentially is the Public Service Department. With some of these funds, roughly $7 million in refuse collection and street equipment, which of course would include our mechanized collection system, as well as containers, and about $1 million of street equipment, usually sign trucks, dump trucks, things that would help us remove snow from the streets. Roughly $2.5 million in NCR projects, neighborhood revitalization projects, over $30 million for resurfacing and curb rehabilitation, and as you know, Council will typically entertain 3 or 4 of these significant contracts each year, which some I believe may have already moved forward from an SIT certification. $3 million for traffic signs and signals, 4.8 for pedestrian safety improvements, which typically are sidewalks or curb type projects, and roughly $21 million in major roadway improvements. And these could be a variety of things, anywhere from small brick rehabilitation to overall street rehabilitation, road rehabilitation. So obviously a sizable portion of the program. Ordinance 1606, 2016, $145 million for sanitary sewer. Obviously, a lot of projects here, a lot of those related to plant improvements and so forth, but also we have roughly $10 million for Big Walnut sanitary trunk sewer, $7 million for the Blacklick sanitary interceptor, 4.6 for sanitary lining projects, $5 million for the Lower Olentangy sewer, and approximately $26 million for blueprint projects in a variety of our neighborhoods across the city. So again, a significant dollar amount in that ordinance. 1607, 2016, this is for water division, stormwater, and electric or power, roughly $87 million. And again, similar to sanitary, there is a significant number of projects in here for water plant improvements. However, there are a number of major neighborhood projects as well. For instance, $6 million for a booster station, $4.6 million for Westgate tank replacement, excuse me, $1 million in lighting improvements, and there's about a dozen very small lighting improvement projects in various neighborhoods, and $6 million in various water main and water line improvements. Again, most of those attached to a specific neighborhood. We have Ordinance 1608, 2016, again, coming back for safety and health, and this would be for the unvoted portion, mostly for public safety. There's about $5 million fire apparatus, medics, engines, $5.2 million for the construction of Fire Station 35, excuse me, $3 million for various facility improvements at our fire stations and police substations, $600,000 for the Far North Police Substation design, and $2.5 million for fiber and computer storage for body-worn camera system, and $1 million for neighborhood safety cameras. Ordinance 1609, that is roughly $25 million for streets and highways. Again, a lot of this is under UIRF, so urban infrastructure improvements, $5 million in projects. 3.2 for pedestrian safety, again, $3 million for Poindexter Village roadways, and $5 million for the Joyce Avenue sidewalks. And I believe this is a phase 3 or 4 project, something that's been ongoing for a while. Ordinance 1610, 2016, $23 million for the economic and community development. And again, a lot of this comes out of the Economic Development Department, including housing demolition, roughly $3.5 million, but also $3 million for housing preservation, $2.2 for property acquisition, and again, $2 million for Poindexter Village redevelopment. Finally, I think we have a couple more, but as far as major projects go, 1611, 2016, this is for construction management, mostly under finance and management. This is $3 million for various facility renovations, mostly supported by the general fund. $5 million for City Hall renovations. Most of that is related to HVAC and utility improvements. $3 million for the municipal court renovations, which is an ongoing phased-in improvements there, and then $6 million for the Parsons Avenue HVAC replacement, which of course is the health department. We have Ordinance 1612, 2016. This is $1 million for the Fleet Management Division, and most of this deals with the fuel management program for fleet management, and specifically the underground storage tanks, removing them if need be, or replacing them, tightening them up. Security upgrades at their current facility, some minor camera improvements out there, and then any fleet equipment that they may need that potentially would be bondable. Ordinance 1613, 2016, $5.5 million. This is for the Department of Technology, for usually network upgrades across the city, fiber connectivity, and any related technology upgrades and equipment that are deemed to be bondable. And then finally, Ordinance 1614, 2016, which authorizes $11.8 million in bond money, and this is to finance the continuing one-year note that was issued for the 2 parking decks that are owned by the city downtown, the one at 4th and Elm, the other at Front Street. And this has been done as a one-year note for I think probably since its inception several years ago, and this will be a continuing issuance, and the city is well on its way, I might add, to paying these down probably earlier than anticipated. They've been financially very successful. That's all I have on those. Sorry for the length of time, but obviously we like to have those on for the 27th due to other requirements that are necessary, meeting with bond agencies and so forth, and before we can go out and seek bids to get that debt.
And when do we anticipate the bond sale?
Yeah, we would anticipate that the end of July, probably sometime around that last week to 10 days of July would be the sale date. And of course, it takes usually a few weeks for all that to be completed. And I think we would have the actual cash sometime, I think approximately 2 weeks or so, 10 days to 2 weeks following that bond sale, we would have cash in hand.
And these ordinance will authorize $481.4 million in debt. Do you expect the city to sell that much debt when the sale occurs?
Yes, we do anticipate at this time, pending any there are a few meetings yet with the bond agencies that will occur in early July, and then, of course, some meetings with the auditor. But right now, I think we're on track to issue that. Certainly it wouldn't be no more than that at this point, and which was actually, I believe, a few million lower than the adopted 2016 capital budget. So we anticipate that'll be the amount, and if there would be any changes to that, obviously the city auditor has the final say on that debt issuance. But right now we think we're in pretty good shape.
I see Bob McDaniel in the room this afternoon, and certainly anticipating those conversations with the 3 rating agencies, and them again giving us a AAA bond rating before we get ready to go out to sell the debt. So also want to thank on your team. I know he was just in the room. I think I saw Rob Newman was in the room, and just want to thank him and your team for this work. I know that with the voted bond sale and with the CIP, all the hard work that your team has been doing, and just want to give I know Kyle, and just the whole team, just want to say thank you for that. I also want to say a special thank you to Matt, who works on our team with for finance, because I just think we're going to be getting ready to go on break soon, and we've been working on finance for all year long, and we're ready for this voted bond package, and so just thank your team, because it's a lot of work getting ready for this.
Chair Tyson, thank you very much. You're absolutely correct. There are a lot of people that have their hand in this, from the finance staff to council staff to a variety of individuals to the community. So we're very grateful, and we're thankful to the voters of Columbus that we're able to do this, and especially the city auditor, who obviously as well helps us immensely with us being able to be successful in issuing this debt. So thank you.
And again, these projects are so important to our community, and many cities don't have the ability to have a vote bond, to have these type of sales and have these capital improvements within their community. And so this is really a special place to be able to be investing in our community in such a significant way. So again, I thank you and your team, and look forward to this legislation being on Monday. I won't be here to be able to pass the legislation, but we're having our hearing today, and I think my council colleague, Councilman Hardin, will be here and help get this passed and moving forward. So thank you. Thank you very much. Well, I have one question. Tell me what we're doing over in the Pondexter Village.
You know, I don't have the details in front of me. I can certainly get that information to you. There is quite a number of line item projects in the capital budget, in the bond sale for that, and I will get you that information to your office.
Thank you so very much. But I know you can probably answer a couple questions regarding to the construction, look at the public safety and health related projects of the far north, right? The far north, and the construction of the new police station. Is that right?
Yes. As you know, council, I believe, probably roughly 6 weeks ago, approved legislation to purchase a property on the far north between Lozelle Road on the north and Park Road on the south on Sankos Boulevard, right next to the far north recreation center. And there's roughly 5 acres of land there that we will use for police substation. The current response officers from that area, come from Carl and Morse Road. And the public safety and police have been anxiously wanting to get a piece of land further north so that we could respond better to the far north area. Within this particular bond sale, there is money to do the design for that police substation, and then of course we would anticipate that public safety would be in a position in the 2017 capital budget to authorize the actual construction for that. So we're very excited. I know public safety and police are excited about having a presence there, and we're very grateful for council for authorizing the purchase of the land, and of course ultimately getting the design underway. We also in public safety have the Far East Fire Station 35, which was we would hope to have done several years ago. Financially, it was just at the beginning of the second recession of the last decade. We weren't able to complete that. As far as the building, the design's mostly completed. It will need updated since it's a few years old. And then, of course, the capital dollars for the construction of that facility are contained within this capital budget. So again, I know that the fire division, the fire chief and public safety are excited about being able to finally put a station out in that area.
And the community is also excited because they have certainly been in meetings that we've been in within the those neighborhoods, that they have certainly been wanting those also. So thank you so much. Thank you for your presentation this evening.
You're welcome.
Now I want to transition to Health and Human Services Committee, and I'm going to ask Mr. Michael Fielding to provide updates from the Health Department.
Thank you, Councilmember Tyson. Appreciate the opportunity to speak this afternoon. The first item that I have is the 2016 Ryan White Part A Process Improvement Project. This is ordinance number 1521, 2016. As the HIV system of care has evolved and become more complex, the process of linking new consumers to medical case management has become significantly more complex. A need exists to improve the process. This ordinance authorizes the Board of Health to enter into a contract in the amount of $32,000 with the supplier Six Sigma, a LEAN, L-E-A-N, Ohio approved consultant, to manage, facilitate, and coordinate elements of a quality improvement that seeks to increase case management standardization in the Central Ohio HIV case network using the LEAN principles. These services were advertised through the vendor services in November 2015. The term of this contract is May 1st, 2016 through December 31st, 2016. Are there any questions?
Michael, will this process link the consumers that you hear to medical case management? Is medical case management that the health department has, or medical case management when individuals go to, I know we have a relationship with Ohio State to treat our patients. Is it working with Ohio State? How does this?
Correct.
Is that what this will be?
That is correct. It'd be multiple consumers, not only the Columbus Public Health, but it could be nationwide children's hospitals and others within our community. The medical management becomes quite complex, as you know, and this would help us reach a higher standard, a better standard of quality assurance, of ensuring they get the care that they need.
All right, thank you.
Next ordinance is the assignment of present and future contracts, ordinance 1526, 2016. This ordinance is needed to authorize assignment of present and future contracts and purchase orders with AIDS Resource Center Ohio Medical Center to Equantis Health, Inc., as requested by the vendor. This ordinance is required in order to legally change the name for existing contracts with the city.
Thank you.
The next ordinance is to authorize donation of an emergency trailer to Delaware Emergency Medical Services, ordinance number 1556-2016. Columbus Public Health has a surplus emergency trailer for which is no longer in use. The trailer is approximately 15 years old and isn't operational. As a result, the Board of Health is seeking permission to donate the equipment to Delaware County Emergency Medical Services because the equipment is of de minimis value on the open market. The Board of Health is requesting the relevant provisions of Chapter 329.30 pertaining to the sale of city-owned personal property be waived.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Next ordinance is to accept and appropriate the 2016-2017 Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grants, ordinance 1576-2016. Columbus Public Health has been awarded a grant from the Ohio Department of Health originating from the Center for Disease Control. This ordinance is needed to accept the appropriate $996,988 in grant monies to fund the 2016-2017 Public Health Emergency Preparedness Grant Program for the period of July 1, 2016 through June 30, 2017. Any
And so,
questions?
I know you're excited about that, getting almost $1 million for your program, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Although it's been reduced a small amount due to dollars being shifted for working with the Zika virus, we should be able to maintain our services and product that we produce for the community, keeping the community safe as best as possible. But yeah, we're very excited about it. We've been receiving these dollars for quite some time.
Now, do these dollars also help you I know I've been able to attend some of the preparedness day. Does this support that program?
Absolutely. This certainly pays for a number of staff within our program. But yes, it helps in all kinds of planning, all kinds of training and education. It helps us with exercises, and then the post-event, after-action type planning and so forth. So yes, this helps us in a great deal.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. I believe my last ordinance is to authorize a contract with Franklin County Public Health, ordinance number 1583-2016. Columbus Public Health was awarded $996,888 in grant monies from the Ohio Department of Health, originating from the Center for Disease Control for the Public Health Emergency Preparedness Program. This ordinance is needed to authorize a contract with Franklin County Public Health for $288,897.58 for the time period July 1, 2016 through June 30, 2017. This is typical for us. We share dollars with our counterparts at the county level. Typically, it's divided by population, and this is kind of an ongoing for them to be able to do what they do for our surrounding communities. As you know, emergencies have no boundaries, so whatever happens in the county happens in the city and vice versa. So we very much like and appreciate the partnership we have with Franklin County Public Health.
Thank you, Michael, and certainly I'm hoping for our viewing and listening audience. I'm glad that you're even here for the legislation that specifically affects your department.
Correct.
And certainly ensuring that our viewing and listening audience knows that we are always focused on should we have an emergency within our community, that we do have yourself and a whole team of people from the city and the county that are focused on us being prepared for any emergency that would come to our community. And that you certainly, I've been at a couple of your day events where you have prepared for an emergency, and as to feel very confident that should there be an issue in our community, which we hope it doesn't happen, that we are prepared for that. So,
Councilmember Tyson, thank you so much. We appreciate your support and the support of City Council as well. And you're always welcome to attend. I think last time I was talking to you, I was dripped in sweat because I was running all around.
That was right.
Trying to make sure that everything was taken care of. But you are always welcome. And again, we appreciate your support.
thank you. I appreciate you. Thank you so very, very much. And so with that, I hope this afternoon's hearing has provided valuable information on programs and community initiatives from Columbus Public Health, as well as finance-related legislation that is necessary to support our ongoing city operations. As residents, these hearings are an opportunity for you to learn and become engaged in the issues that are presented. And before I conclude this afternoon's hearing, I would like to thank from the Department of Finance, Deputy Director Dan Giangardella. I see his another Deputy Directors is in the room, Kathy Owens. I also want to thank Columbus Public Health Director for the Center of Epidemiology, Preparedness and Response, Mr. Michael Fielding, and my fellow council members and their staff who serve our community with pride each and every day. Also want to always recognize the council's legislative research team, which is led by Michael Kessler, and then Andrew Dwyer and Matt Erickson, and Matt's here who staffs finance, and also Brendan Kelly, who's also focusing on the Legislative Affairs Office on the finance area. My staff, Nicole Harper and Carl Williams, just really appreciate them. We have busy committees, and so they work really hard to be able to help me do my job well. So I appreciate them. Again, the hardworking team of CTV who make these hearings possible so our residents have knowledge of what's going on at the city. And then finally, the residents of our city who make our city the best place in the country to live, work, and to raise a family. Thank you very much, and this hearing is adjourned.